Hello everybody, Refresh here. Today I am here to look at Ultra Pro's board game sleeves for special size board game cards that is 65 millimeters by 100 millimeters. Like most board game sleeves, these are clear, and these particular sleeves come in 50 to a pack, and a pack costs $2.99, so it's the Ultra Pro standard price of 6 cents per sleeve, which is about equivalent of the other thicker card sleeves that you can get for cards of this size. Let's take a look at what we have inside. As with most board game sleeves, you will see that these are glossy and smooth on both sides. Like with all Ultra Pro cards, you can see that there is a hologram embedded into every single one of these sleeves. So if you don't like holograms, this is not going to change your mind with Ultra Pro. They've got holograms on all of the sleeves. Let's see how thick these sleeves are. It is about 1 centimeter thick for 50 sleeves. That is about 200 microns per sleeve, or 100 microns per face, which is the standard for sleeves of this size. Now to check the dimensions. These sleeves are 68 wide by 103 long. Now, let's see how they fit. What I have here is one 7 Wonders card, size 65 millimeters by 100 millimeters, and as you can see, it is a pretty good fit. There is a little bit of extra space on the sides, and only a tiny bit of extra space at the top. These actually fit just a little bit looser on the sides than any of the other sleeves that I've tested, but not so loose that it's substantially looser. The limitations of sleeves that have a limited gap between the opening of the sleeve and the top edge of the card apply to these sleeves as well. One thing that you'll note is that the hologram that is on the bottom of the sleeve is actually clear, so you can actually see through the hologram. It's still there. It leaves a bump on the surface of the sleeve, but because it is clear, it doesn't seem as obtrusive as other Ultra Pro holograms can be. So that's actually a improvement on the hologram. Now we'll do the sleeving test. So I'm going to take these 45 7 Wonders cards and put them in 45 of these 50 Ultra Pro board game sleeves and see how long that it takes. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it appears to have taken about 2 minutes and 8 seconds, rounding up, and that is approximately 2.84 seconds per sleeve, which is actually the fastest that I've been able to sleeve any cards of this size. Now, I think that has to do with the fact that these sleeves are just slightly wider than any of the other sleeves that are in this size, and so consequently, the cards pop in without any resistance at all. Counting the remaining sleeves, there are 5 left, which makes this exactly 50 sleeves, not one more, not one less. As you can see, the sleeves are perfectly uniform on the sides as they are in terms of height. And so that means that these are actually quite good in terms of overall uniformity. Now, if you look on the side, you can notice that some of the edges are rougher than others, so the finishing process isn't perfect. But that seems to be the only real issue that I can find with the sleeves outside of the pack in terms of consistency. Unlike a lot of the other Ultra Pro board game sleeves that I've seen, these are actually not at all warped, and so that's also really nice. Next up, I'm going to be doing the shuffle test. That is shuffling these 45 sleeve 7 Wonders cards 100 times to see how long that it takes. Ready? Get set. Go. Okay, to shuffle these sleeved Seven Wonders cards 100 times, it took 1 minute and 51 seconds. And that's actually a very impressive speed of about 1.11 seconds per shuffle. This is noticeably faster than any of the other sleeves of this size. When I was shuffling the sleeves, I did end up dropping them a few times just because cards of this size are a little bit unwieldy to shuffle in general. But for the most part, there's just a little bit of resistance when you shuffle the sleeves. And again, I think that is because of the overall size of these cards. These sleeves do feel pretty good in your hand when you're shuffling them. They feel substantial, they feel solid. Now that we have handled these cards a bit, let's take a look at how they held up. Okay, now there does appear to be some light denting on some of these sleeves. I don't know how easy it is to catch, but there's a little bump on a few of these sleeves, often around this part of the sleeve. Because I didn't inspect carefully before I started shuffling, I can't tell whether it was there before I started shuffling or not. So I don't know whether it is a manufacturing issue or if it is a problem with the sleeves in terms of their overall durability in handling. But that is something that may bother some of you, so keep that in mind as you are looking at these sleeves. The other thing that I've noticed while looking at the sleeves after I've handled them a bit is that there is some really mild scuffing, and I think that overuse, the clearness, the glossiness of the sleeves may fade over time as you shuffle these against each other. I don't think it's going to cause marking because you're going to mostly be shuffling these things fairly uniformly, but if you want sleeves that are going to look as pristine the first day that you put them on, then 30, 50, 100 games later, then these aren't going to necessarily satisfy you, considering that I can notice some amount of scuffing even after the first 100 shuffles or so. Next for you, I have the shake test. So I have this sleeve deck of 45 Seven Wonders cards, and I'm going to shake the table it's on for approximately 2 seconds to see how the deck holds up. Ready? Barely moved. Although I do think that these sleeves are slicker than perhaps some other sleeves, when they are stuck together, there isn't a significant amount of error in the sleeves because they're fairly flat, and so they're not at all really unsteady. And so the slickness, while it exists, doesn't seem to phase the sleeves, especially given the size of the cards, if the table that it is on is being shaken. So it is a pass for the shake test. Now I'm going to be performing the draw test with these sleeves, and I will draw 3 cards off the top and see how the deck holds up. Ready? No problem. After this example, and it seems like I can keep pulling cards and see no problem, so I believe that is a pass on the draw test for these Ultra Pro sleeves. Overall, I'm actually quite surprised and pleased with these Ultra Pro sleeves. I think I've had mixed feelings about them in the past, especially given that some of the sleeves came out damaged or had warping or had other issues, and the price that you were paying for Ultra Pro board game sleeves with the other sizes was significantly higher than you would expect given those qualities that showed up in the sleeves. Now you have a set of sleeves that is uniform out of the package and looks like they're going to hold up overall in terms of durability. I do think that these are going to suffer from aesthetic wear because of the scuffing that the sleeves will take, so it's not 100% good. But if you consider the fact that these sleeves are so uniform and they handle so well and they're so easy to sleeve, that almost mitigates the fact that perhaps long term these may not be the best looking. I can't tell whether or not they'll break or not, but as you can see, the corners are not bent at all after shuffling these sleeves, so they actually do look pretty good, not even now. And even though these sleeves are slightly wider than the other sleeves, at just about 1 millimeter wider, giving the edges of the sleeve a little bit more play, and as you can see, a little bit more space, I do think that that width does prevent these sleeves from really bending or curling the cards any more than they already are. As you can see, these cards are actually quite straight, as opposed to, say, the cards that I put in the Ultimate Guard Supreme sleeves, that they are not so tight that they're hard to sleeve, and even though they're a little wider, they don't look any substantially worse than the other 200-ish micron sleeves that I have tested. There are some issues with these sleeves. Again, the scuffing is going to be an issue for you. The fact that the top edge of the card is so close to the opening of the sleeve is going to reduce some of its protectiveness, but there are no sleeves that have a significant gap between the opening of the sleeve and the top edge of the card for cards of this size. And so even though it is an issue, there is no alternative that resolves that issue. So consequently, the Ultra Pros are on the same plane as Ultimate Guard or Mayday when it comes to that particular issue. The other downside, and this is a personal taste issue, is that these Ultra Pros do have these holograms. Fortunately, these holograms are translucent, so you can actually sort of see through them and see the artwork underneath. And they are placed in a part of the card, at least for Seven Wonders, that there is no text, so there's not going to be any concern that it's blocking anything other than the art. So I actually don't mind these personally, but if you really do have a problem with any of the art being blocked by a hologram on your sleeve, then Ultra Pro is clearly not for you. So if any of those are issues, and the fact that there are some sleeves in this batch that could have used better finishing, like this one with its super fuzzy plastic remnants on the edge of the sleeve, because they're uniform, they don't exhibit any warping, and they don't have any problems with thickness or size, and they feel quite good in your hands. These are an absolutely viable choice for your Seven Wonders cards. If you thought this video was helpful or you liked this video, hit the like button for me. Subscribe if you'd like to see more, including the upcoming roundup of sleeves I'm going to be doing of this particular size, sized for 65mm by 100mm, which is primarily Seven Wonders. And if you have some considerable experience with these particular Ultra Pro sleeves for this size, you can click on the link in the survey box below and help inform others about their consistency and their durability at Init Games' resource page. Thanks everybody for watching. This was Refresh, and I will see you next time.